Good morning. It is Thursday, August 27th at about 10 minutes to 9 in the morning. Hi, I'm Larry Cedar. I'm back with you for another session on scanning, SQANNING, which is a relaxation technique which utilizes the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical and ultimately emotional and mental calm. That's all we're doing is we're just relaxing the muscles. That's all we're doing. There's no particular philosophy behind this. There's no theory. There's no mantras. There's no special words or secrets. There's no book you have to read. There's no guru you have to consult. There's no class you have to attend. There's no place you have to drive to. It's just that simple. If I said to you, just release the musculature of your body on my count, 3, 2, 1, release. Whatever you achieved in that slight moment of relaxation or release is what we're trying to do. So you've learned it. You can go off and do it on your own, or you can spend half an hour or so with me just kind of running through the technique just to understand the foundations of it and just to basically practice. Because we spend a lot of time contracting. We spend a lot of time putting together thoughts, ideas, tensing our muscles, using our body to take action. These are contractions, which is the normal course of life. We're very familiar with that process, with the process of making a fist, pulling things together to make things happen. We're not as familiar with undoing, unwinding, expanding. This is why we have trouble relaxing. This is why we walk around like basket cases, most of the time. I need to relax, I need to relax, I need a vacation. Because we vacillate in life between contraction and expansion, and we tend to contract a lot more than we expand, we get kind of used to that as being a way of life. And we forget that of equal importance is expansion. Now, some people are very good at this. Some people are very good at balancing their lives. They know when they've gone too far, when they're overly contracted, and they take a vacation, or they meditate, or they do whatever they need to do to expand, to pull themselves into a state of expansion so that they are ultimately a balanced human being. A balanced person is a person that knows how to go between contraction and expansion and find a sort of stability in their life. So, I, like many people, tend to contract more than I expand, and so I developed this technique as a means of relaxing myself, of relaxing the musculature as a way to clear the mind, because again, there's a mind-body connection and there's a body-mind connection. This is a body-mind connection. We use the process of incremental muscular release to not only relax the muscles, but by association, influence the mind, which is a muscle of sorts that holds on to thoughts. Allow it to relax and let go of all the obsessive thoughts, negative thoughts, anxieties, worries, and let them float away. That's all we're doing. So I come here every day, or try to come here every day, in addition to my own personal practice of the technique, just sort of share the process with you in the hopes that you might find it of interest, of benefit to you, and you can practice and get better and better at it. And that's all we're doing. So talked about a couple of things this week. Contraction takes many forms. Contraction can take the form of tension, anxiety, obsessive thoughts, pulling together of thoughts and ideas to a point of excess, to where we feel restricted, to where we feel limited, to where we feel like we're no longer successfully engaging in life. We become overly contracted. We can also become contracted in an emotional sense, an emotional contraction where we shut ourselves off from the world. That's a form of depression. And I talked about those things earlier this week, but today I want to talk about contraction expansion just as a normal process in life where we're not particularly feeling bad, let's say, but we'd like to open ourselves up. When we start our day, we tend to be kind of slow, sluggish. We're reluctant to get going. Expansion is an excellent way to start your day because it takes you from what is a somewhat contracted state, sleep. We've pulled in, we've withdrawn, and it opens you up again to the world so that you can engage successfully and generally feel better. So today, that's all we're going to do. I'm going to just take this from a point of I feel good, I feel happy, things are going well, but I did just get up a little while ago and I'm a little sluggish, so I'm going to use this process of scanning or expansion to open myself up, to wake myself up, and see what that does in terms of allowing me to more successfully engage in the things I have to participate in today. So that's it. So let's get started. Squeeze your hands together, tight, 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 tight. That's contraction. That is one of the two processes of the universe. Basically, a man named Thaddeus Golas, Golas, wrote a book called The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment, which got me started on all this craziness. And he said the universe is based on two processes: contraction, squeeze your hands together, tight, 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 or the other, expansion, 3, 2, 1, release. Take a deep breath. So in life, as I said, we tend to vacillate between contracted states and expanded states. Contraction is good. It's the stuff of life. It's pulling together of thoughts, ideas, materials, effort to make things happen, hopefully in a successful, beneficial way. However, we can become overly contracted. We become constricted. We become restrained. We become reluctant to participate in life. We move into a state of denial, what I call a state of no. And how do we know that? We feel bad. We feel sluggish. We feel resistant. We feel uncomfortable. We feel unhappy. So that's how we know we've moved into an overly contracted state. And it's easy. It's easy to pull yourself out. All you have to do is to decide. So we use our hands as a metaphor for that process: contraction, expansion. Here we are, contracted, squeeze, tight, 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 really tight. Feel that. That's what contraction feels like. Now we're going to move ourselves into a state of expansion. 3, 2, 1, release. And note the difference in feeling. Now you can't contract and expand at the same time. So once you've begun to expand, you've stopped contracting. That's the beauty of it. Once you've decided to expand, you stop contracting. Now you might pull yourself back towards contraction. You just expand again. So that's all we're going to do, is keep nudging ourselves into a more expanded state. We're also going to take a series of deep, deep breaths, which are expansive by nature, physically expansive. And then we're going to sit in stillness and silence. Stillness is the opposite of action, which is a contraction. So by sitting still, we've stopped contracting. And we're going to be silent, because silence is the opposite of words and thought. Words and thought are contractions. So these are the preliminary steps to move ourselves into an expanded state. So if we take it, as I said today, that this is a normal day, there's nothing unusual going on, I don't feel any particular way, I don't feel particularly good or bad, I just woke up, but I do feel sluggish. We're going to take ourselves from that sluggish, contracted state into an expanded state as a way of waking ourselves up, putting ourselves in a better, more, shall we say, agreeable state of mind. So squeeze your hands together, tight, 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 really tight. That's contraction. When you sleep, we tend to pull in, we tend to withdraw, we tend to close ourselves off. So we put ourselves into a contracted state. It's a form of safety, but you can't engage in life successfully if you are contracted. You're too solid. You want to be more permeative. You want to be able to merge with others. So we need to expand to get started. 3, 2, 1, release. See how that feels different? Take a deep, deep breath. Drop your hands. Another deep breath. And another. Now we're going to sit for 15 seconds in stillness and silence. Now, I always have the same feeling when I start this process, especially if I'm sort of sluggish. It's the morning. My body says, no. It says no. I hear this huge no coming out of my body. It wants to stay contracted. Contracted is a position of safety. Even if it's not good for us, it feels safe. It feels secure. It feels pain-free. Maybe it's not, but it feels secure. So as I start to deeply breathe, it's as if I'm pulling myself out of that cave and the body is resistant. I always feel feelings of resistance. So don't be surprised if part of you just starts to feel like, no, this doesn't feel good. It's good for you, trust me. And as we progress, it'll get easier and easier. So let's repeat. Squeeze your hands together, tight, tight, tight. That's you. You've been contracted. Really squeeze tight. Okay? See how restricted that is? Maybe you're holding your breath a little bit. It's a hold position. It's a resistance position. Okay? So we're going to pull ourselves out of that. 3, 2, 1. Completely release the tension in your hands. See what that feels like? Drop your hands and take 3 deep breaths. As deep as you can. 15 seconds of stillness and silence. If you're a little dizzy, that's fine. Again, we're changing states of consciousness. It can be a little bit disorienting. Now, yesterday I worked out first and then I did a session. I wanted to see if I could use the session to bring myself out of the contracted state that exercise puts you into, sometimes very wound up, and it worked. Today, I'm doing what I normally do, which is do a session to expand before I work out. And the reason I do it is this. A relaxed muscle is an effective muscle. A relaxed muscle is a pain-free muscle. I find that when I do a scanning session, when I put myself into a more expanded, relaxed state before I work out, the workout is half as difficult. So I like that. It feels better. Because again, when you're contracted, you're resistant to any movement, any openness, any action of any sort. So if you expand, your body becomes more accepting. It's more willing to move, to participate, to engage. So today I'm going back to my traditional pattern, which is expand, relax, release, and then work out. Let's do it again. Squeeze your hands together tight, 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 really tight. Really feel that. Now my hands are already more relaxed from just a little bit of expansion we've done, so this isn't so difficult anymore. Already my muscles are working more effectively, but still squeeze very tight. That's contraction. It's strength, it's the stuff of life, it's action, but when we become overly contracted, we become restricted. So we recognize that because now we're doing this practice session. We're noticing the difference between contraction and expansion. We're seeing we're contracted, so we're going to make a decision to scan. We're going to expand. 3, 2, 1. Completely release. Let your hands just float. How does it feel to have let go of all that contraction? Drop your hands and take this time 5 deep breaths. Keep expanding. 30 seconds of stillness and silence. Deep breath. Now register what feels different. It's important that you pay attention to these changes because what we're trying to do is build a heightened awareness of our state of being. We tend to move through life sometimes without really paying attention. Like, why am I acting this way? Why do I feel this way? But if you pay attention, you'll start to notice. Particularly if you use this paradigm of contraction expansion, you begin to say, am I contracted or expanded? Well, how does it feel to be contracted? How does it feel to be expanded? So as you start to expand, you start to feel these differences. Take note. How does it feel different as you begin to expand? Well, I always notice the same thing. I just feel more still, more comfortable. I don't feel as weighed down by the contractions that I've been experiencing as I was sleeping. I feel sort of more awake, more alert. A lot of that has to do with the deep breaths, just oxygenating yourself. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that you are becoming more permeable. You're opening up. Contraction is solid. Expansion is permeative. And here's an example. These are contracted beings. They can't merge with anything. Everything that hits them shocks them. These are expanded beings. Something comes along, they just intersect, interact, and merge with it comfortably. So we're trying to go from being solid, contracted beings who are buffeted by life to expanded beings who simply merge and move through and around life. It's a much more easygoing flow. As you expand, you become more able to engage in life because things don't hit you. It's like if you had a pane of glass and you were sitting on the front of a car, on the hood, and the car started driving. As the wind started to hit that glass, it would push it around. But if you took that instead and it became a chain link fence you were holding, well, the air can rush through that chain link fence. So you're holding it and you'll feel a little bit of wind, but it won't be so solid because you're allowing the wind, this chain link is allowing the wind to flow through. So you're moving from being solid to permeative. You're literally expanding into a more permeative being, which allows you to merge with others, merge with life more easily. So everything just feels better. We're going to do it a couple more times, and then we're going to move into what I call the nuts and bolts of the system, which is muscular relaxation. Again, anything that's solid is contracted. Anything that is expanded is permeative. Anything that's permeative is expanded. So we're just trying to expand, and you will begin to feel like more ready to engage in your day. I'm expanded, I'm opening up. Life doesn't seem so challenging to me. It's just something I'm going to engage in. Watch my hands. See how they just pass through each other? That's what we're doing. Life becomes something we just pass by and through. as opposed to, that's all we're doing. We're expanding. We're becoming a mesh, if you can imagine a mesh with bigger spaces. So more things can pass through. Squeeze your hands together, tight, tight, tight. That's contraction. That's what we are doing 90% of our day. That's okay. It's good stuff. But we become overly contracted. We feel bad. We feel limited. We feel restricted. So tight, tight, tight. That's okay. See what it feels like. It's also strength. Contraction is also strength. But when you squeeze too hard, it starts to hurt. When you squeeze too hard, you become limited. If you've ever danced with someone for the first time, and some people, when you go to dance with them, they're just so easy to dance with. They just give in, they give way, you work together as partners, and you just flow. And it's beautiful because you're permeative. You're both expanded. You're open to the experience that comes with dancing with this new person, to this music. Anything's possible. My wife's like that. When you dance with her, it's just easy. It just flows because she's just sort of what I call a space being. She's open. Like that. But if you've ever danced with someone who's stiff or uptight or maybe doesn't like to dance, everything's rigid. There's no flow. There's no easy movement. Everything's twice as hard, and it just isn't as much fun. So contraction is limiting. Even if it's strength, if you've ever danced with someone who's very strong but very rigid, there's no flow. So this is contraction. 3, 2, 1, you want to change? Release. Open, available, loose, accepting. Deep breath. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. And you'll notice you can take deeper and deeper breaths as you progress. So now 15 seconds of stillness and silence. Now again, the change I always feel, and note for yourself what you're feeling. I do feel a resistance still to the deep breaths. There's still a part of me that doesn't want to come out of the shell. That's okay. I do still feel a bit of dizziness. That's also all right because I'm shifting states of consciousness. But as I come out of it and I sit in stillness and silence, I begin to feel more comfortable with the stillness and silence. I'm like, this is nice. To use a colloquial term, I feel sort of chill. I'm just kind of like, yeah. And if you said to me now, okay, now you have to get up and you get to work, I'd go, okay. I just feel more agreeable. I'm more open, more accessible to whatever life may throw my way. If there was a knock at the door, I'd say, excuse me, I have to get it. There's just, whereas let's say half an hour ago, if I'd been a knock at the door, I would have gone, what? Who is it? What is that? Everything feels more threatening when you're contracted because you're less able to absorb and deal with, dance with, shall we say, new circumstances. But when you are open, flexible, aware, expanded, everything is just what it is. Oh, there's that, I'll deal with it. There's that, I'll deal with it. So you're more ready to face your day. A lot of reason people drink coffee in the morning. They say, just don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. I can't do anything until I've had my coffee. Well, they're in a very contracted state, and the coffee stimulates the system. It chemically expands them. It chemically opens them up. It opens the blood vessels. It gets the heart pounding faster. It opens you up. It expands you, takes you out of that contracted being, and you feel more willing, more able to engage in everything, conversation, work. So we're trying to achieve that state naturally without chemicals, because we all know there's a limit to what chemicals can do. The problem with any chemical, and that includes caffeine or drugs or dope or alcohol, we tend to need more and more and more and more of it to get the same result we got the first time we tried it. That's what they say about heroin. After the first, like I know about it, right? First thing they say, but people who've been addicted have told me, the thing about heroin is after the first amazing experience, you spend the rest of your life as an addict trying to get back to that first experience, which you never get back to. It's never as good as that. And that's and in the meanwhile, you're destroying yourself, so it's terrible. So we're trying to achieve that state, that openness, that state of floating, free, relaxed, peace, calm, naturally. If you could do nothing else, if you learn nothing else from these sessions, learn to take deep, deep, deep breaths, series of deep, deep breaths, followed by stillness and silence. And you could do that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. Just deep, deep breaths, followed by stillness and silence. And what you'll find is the periods of stillness and silence will get longer and longer and longer. Till pretty soon you'll say, I don't need to take the deep breaths, I'm there. I'm there. I'm at a place of peace, quiet, calm, stillness, awareness, openness, joy, calm. And you're just going to want to hang there. because it feels so great. That's what we're all trying to get to. A place of peace, calm, acceptance, joy, stillness. It's wonderful. Okay? So we're going to do this one more time, then we're going to get into the muscle work. Squeeze your hands tight, 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 tight. Really tight. That's contraction. Now this feels good. This actually feels kind of pleasurable. Initially, when I was contracted, it felt kind of painful, uncomfortable, like took a lot of work. Now it feels like, it feels good. It's like, if you've ever been to the gym and lifting weights and it just feels good, that's how it feels, okay? But we're working on expansion. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, release. Note the difference. Pressure's off. No work, no energy required. You've moved into a slightly expanded state. We're going to take 5 deep breaths, followed by 30 seconds of stillness and quiet. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 2 more, 4, and 5. 15 seconds, 30 seconds of stillness and silence. Deep breath. And again, just hang in that place for 15, 30 seconds. I'm awake, I'm alert, but I'm still, I'm quiet, I'm calm. And this place of centered, quiet, peace, calm, stillness, awareness, expansion is a great place to start anything. It's a sort of a home base. It's a sort of a home base from which anything's possible. If you're about to engage in a particular task and it's challenging and you want to do well, take a moment to expand, to find that still, calm place of focus, clarity, calm. You'll be amazed at how much more effectively you approach that particular task because you're not distracted by all the obsessive thoughts. You're not constricted by this muscular sort of contraction which has pulled you into a shell. You're open, you're available, aware. You're sort of at your best because you've shed all your connection to external processes. You're not thinking about anything in particular. You're not actively tensed. You've relaxed your muscles somewhat, so your musculature is available if it's a physical task. You're mentally clear. By relaxing, you sort of relax the muscle of your mind, which allows you to release obsessive thoughts. So you're clear and available. If you've ever spoken to one, you could tell they weren't listening to you. In fact, even better. Here's an experience I have all the time now, and maybe you share this. You'll be on the phone with someone, and you could tell they're not quite listening to you. They're going, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like this, and you go, what's going on? They're not really listening to me. Well, chances are they're online while they're talking to you. They're looking at a website or they're doing something else. And it can be annoying, but I understand because I do it myself sometimes. But, like when my kids call me or something, I really try to put down whatever I'm doing and focus and listen. Because a person who's available, completely available to you when you're saying something is a person that can truly help you, sympathize with you, assist you, whatever it is you're engaging, if it's a romantic partner, just really engage with you. It's a wonderful thing. So when you have cleared your mind, when you are available, you can much more effectively help people or help whatever situation they are presenting to you. So it's a great place to be. So we've done the preliminary steps. Again, all it is, we do the contraction expansion to remind ourselves that we are basically made of 2 basic states, contraction expansion, just to see what that feels like. So if you forget, you go, well, what is this all about? Contraction expansion. Then we take a series of deep, deep, deep breaths. Series. If you can do 3, great. If you can do 5, great. If more, do them. Breaths are expansive. It is a physical way to expand yourself. We're dealing with a physical process, scanning. We're manipulating the musculature of our body to achieve a more expanded state. The ultimate goal being to also expand our mind, to let go of obsessive thoughts and bring ourselves to a place of calm and peace, clarity, stillness, awareness, joy. So we take a series of deep breaths followed by, however long you feel comfortable, stillness and silence. Again, stillness is the opposite of action. That again stops us contracting and moves us into expansion. Silence is the opposite of words and thoughts. That again stops the contraction, brings us into a state of expansion. These are the preliminary steps. If you do nothing else, just do that. Deep breaths, stillness, silence. Deep breaths, stillness, silence. If you have the time to continue, we then move into what I call the nuts and bolts of scanning, which is the incremental muscular release. The muscles, we're made up of flesh and blood. This is our being. When this goes away, we go away. Doesn't matter how brilliant you are, how brilliant you think you are, how many books you've read, or how much knowledge you've got in here. When the body goes away, when this ceases to function, it all goes away. So this is what we are. First. Some might argue otherwise, but it's what I believe. So I work with the muscles. I believe the muscles, the body, can be the source of enlightenment because they are a physical metaphor for what's going on in our consciousness. We are either contracted or expanded. As we expand the body, as we release the muscles, because that's all muscles can do is contract or expand, as we reverse the contraction process and move into an expansion, it brings our whole consciousness into an expanded state. The musculature, the flesh and blood, influences our state of consciousness, influences our mind, opens us up emotionally. So here we go. On my count, we're going to release the muscles of the face. Now, when I say that, what I mean is turn off the power to the muscles. We walk around with a constant low level of tension in our bodies, whether we're aware of it or not. We just carry a certain amount of tension sort of as a safety net so that we feel secure. We hold on to this muscular tension so that we're ready, we're prepared, we're on guard against whatever threats might happen, whatever action we might have to take. We're reluctant to completely let go unless we're in Tahiti and we've paid for a place on the beach, a hut on the beach where there's nothing going to happen, presumably. Then we feel safe. Generally speaking, in our normal everyday life, we carry around a certain low level of tension. And that requires energy. So there's a power switch, and I want you to hit that power switch. And I'm going to snap my fingers as an indication you flip the switch. When you flip that switch, the power is going to turn off to that particular muscle group. And I'm indicating the face because I've divided my body into 8 zones, and zone 1 is the face. So watch my face. 3, 2, 1. I turned off the power to those muscles. I let them sag. I let them go. The face is a great place to start. Next to the hands, which we contract and release all the time, the face is an area we're familiar with releasing tension. We use our face a lot. So we know how to use it or stop using it. Because a lot of these muscular groups, it's sort of tricky to tune into. We don't know how to release those muscles. So we start with the face. Fairly easy. You can make a face like this if you want. 3, 2, 1. Release. So you feel the difference. Contracted, released. Contracted, release. Contracted, released. So I want you to feel that change. That's what we're looking to do. Feel that release. That's what you're going to get better and better at. That's why we practice. We practice to familiarize ourselves with that feeling of release. And, as a practical matter, just to release, because that's what we're trying to do. The face. 3, 2, 1, release. You feel it dropping, a sagging. Zone 2 is the top of the head. 3, 2, 1, release. Now there's a tricky one. What do the muscles on the top of the head feel like? It's something we don't think about much. But you can tune into any muscle group in your body. As you practice, you'll get better and better at that. So I want you to direct your focus to the muscles at the top of your head, see what they feel like, and then on my count, just ever so slightly release that tension. 3, 2, 1, release. And I feel a sort of a dropping, a sort of a sagging sensation. Now, we've only got like a half an hour or so today, so we're going to go fairly quickly through these, but you practice on your own. Whenever you have a chance, you will get better and better and better at it. You'll get to a point where you can induce a deep state of muscular relaxation, which will in turn relax your mind, which will in turn clear your mind of negative thoughts, obsessive thoughts, anxiety. It will clear your body of compulsive impulses. Those impulses that make you feel like I must always be on guard, I must be ready, I must do. It'll allow you to just settle down into yourself and be still and quiet and calm, if even for 5 minutes. Zone 3, the back of the head. 3, 2, 1, release. And watch for, because this happens frequently with me, as I'm concentrating on one zone, I'll say release, like this just happened. Release the muscles of the back of the head, and I felt my shoulders drop. So you will feel the body tuning in and saying, what's going on, man? There's a relaxation party going on. How can I come? Am I invited? And you'll say, sure, because the rest of the body sees what's going on. It wants to relax too. So let that happen. But concentrate primarily on the muscle group, any particular muscle group. Zone 4 is the neck. 3, 2, 1, release. And you'll be aware that you were holding tensions you didn't even know you were holding. I mean, it's like you go, oh, I had no idea I was holding my neck. And you might feel some resistance, because to release tension is to allow feelings and emotions to emerge. Tension constricts and suppresses feelings and emotions. So as you start to relax, you might start to feel, it sounds funny, but emotional. And you might go, I'm uncomfortable with that. I don't want to go there. That's okay. Emotions are only uncomfortable when they're emerging. Once they're out, they feel great. The neck, 3, 2, 1, release. Now I'm doing, again, a fairly brisk session. I will spend, this is going to be like a half an hour. I will spend easily an hour sometimes just sitting in a chair, just exploring my body, scanning, that's why I call it scanning, but with a Q, scanning my body for pockets of tension. And it's amazing what I'll discover. I'm very aware that physical tension, it can be limiting. I've been doing this for years. It doesn't mean I don't get tense every single day. I have to work on it like I'm just starting for the first time. That's just the nature of being a human being. But you'll get better and better at it. So as needed on any given day, you can induce this deep state of relaxation, clear your mind, calm your body, and find a place of peace, quiet, joy. We all deserve to be there at least a couple times a day. The neck, 3, 2, 1, release. Zone 5 is the shoulders. Just let them drop. They've probably already been dropping, but just let them continue. 3, 2, 1, release. You will feel many impulses to take deep breaths. Take them. Again, that's the body continuing to move in this expansive direction. It's also your body catching up. When you're tense and constricted or contracted, we tend to hold our breath. It's part of the process. It's part of the package. Contraction comes with a holding sensation. We hold. So we're holding our breath. As you begin to expand, you release, you let go. Your body says, oh, now's an opportunity to breathe. The body is telling me it's safe to breathe. So take those breaths. Always take breaths. Many, many, many breaths. You can't take too many. Don't do this in the car, by the way, because you can hyperventilate and you don't want to be driving and pass out, and that's very dangerous, obviously. You do want to be somewhere where you're seated in case you get a little dizzy, and just kind of let that dizziness pass and continue. The shoulders, 3, 2, 1, release. Zone 6 is the chest down into the stomach and waist, 3, 2, 1, release. Zone 7 is the back down into the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, release. And I always stop and pay particular attention to the pelvis because we hold a lot of tension there. It's the area of, shall we say, sexuality and waste elimination. That's all I'm going to say about that. But we're uncomfortable, we're tense, we're restricted because it's an area that can be embarrassing. Loss of control is terrifying. So to relax in that area sometimes feels a little uncomfortable. Just push past that. Nothing's going to happen. You're just seated here in a chair. The back down into the pelvis. 3, 2, 1. Release. Again, turning off the power switch. Do, 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 do. This is the energy you're sending to that contracted muscle. Do, 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 do. That's what you're feeling. A sort of a sagging release, as though you've turned the power off to that muscle. The last zone is the legs over the knees and into the feet. 3, 2, 1, release. And again, the feet are very, very sensitive and very, very lucrative in terms of the benefits that can be achieved when you relax them. They are these strong, steely devices on which we put all of our weight. We stand on them all day. We walk, we run. People run marathons on these things. And yet they're these delicate little flowers. When you touch them, you jump. I mean, they have so much feeling in them. A lot of the organs in our body have nerve endings associated with the feet. That's why feet massages feel so good. So they're these incredibly complex, parts of our body, strong and yet very sensitive. So if you can induce a state of relaxation in your feet, your entire body will benefit. So think about the feet. Put your focus there and try to release the tiniest amount of tension to the feet. 3, 2, 1, let go, release. And again, it's like you're going, ah. I always say it's release and it's relief. It's a comfort. It's a sense of physical comfort. It's also a sense of I don't have to be burning that energy. I don't have to be working that hard. You're working so much harder than you need to all day. You're exerting so much more energy, maintaining that low-grade tension in your body. And you don't need to. You can spend 50% of your day exerting a lot less energy, which gives you energy for other things, and you don't feel so tired at the end of the day. Again, the legs down into the feet. 3, 2, 1, release. Now we're going to do 5 more deep breaths and 30 seconds of stillness and silence. We've released the musculature in our body, maybe 1%, 2%, it doesn't matter. Once you've started to expand, you've stopped contracting. So any movement towards expansion is of benefit. 5 deep breaths. Follow me. That's 1. That's 2. Keep going. That's 3. 1 more. This is 5. 30 seconds of stillness and silence. Deep breath. And again, you'll come to this place of stillness. And I find it happening with me. You might find it happening with you, where I'm like, I'm not interested in doing this anymore. I'm there. I don't want to do deep breathing. I'm there. I'm there. It's okay. I'm good. And you just want to stop and just enjoy that place of stillness and silence. And that's great. As I said, as you practice this, if you manage to practice it for an hour, if you can put in an hour sometime and try it instead of watching TV or playing video games or going on the internet, it's incredible what it'll do for you. You'll find yourself taking these deep breaths, sitting, squeezing, expanding, and sitting in stillness and silence, taking deep breaths, stillness and silence, incrementally releasing the muscles, and then all of a sudden you'll get what I call there. You're there. You're calm, you're still, you're available, you're at peace, comfortable, and you'll say, that's it. And just stay there. Just stay in that place. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just enjoy it. That's where we're headed. I'll tell you quickly the story. I told it yesterday, but I think it bears repeating. There's 2 people walking down a road, and one guy's looking up, looking, and the other guy says, what are you looking for? He says, I'm trying to find the moon. I can't find the moon. Where's the moon? And the other guy says, well, there, it's right there. And he points to it. And the guy says, what? Oh, there it is. There's the moon. And the other guy says, yeah, there it is. And the guy says, yeah, okay, I see it. And he goes, yeah, there's the moon. There's the moon. He goes, no, I see it. He goes, yeah, there's the moon. He goes, you can put your hand down. I see it. There it is. So all that we've been doing is me pointing at the moon, okay? And it's great. I'm trying to help myself and you get to this place I call the moon, this place of stillness and calm, quiet, peace, and joy. Once you're there, you don't have to keep pointing. You don't have to keep deep breathing. You don't have to keep relaxing the muscles. You can just enjoy it. Be there. Just be there. And I also postulated yesterday, and I'm continuing to think about this, that maybe all this pointing is unnecessary anyway. That perhaps a really valuable session would be just sitting in stillness and silence and you joining me. What if we just took a half an hour just to sit in stillness and silence? The moon. It's possible. I might try it sometime. Anyway, that's today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. It's called Scanning, SQANNING, as in scanning the body, looking for pockets of tension. It is the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep, deep state of first physical, followed by emotional and mental calm, clarity, peace, stillness, joy, openness, acceptance. Actually, just being. That's what we're trying to achieve. We come here every day. I come here every day if I can to practice. It is a technique which gets better with practice. You will get better at as you practice. I've been doing it for years, thousands of hours. I still find I have to really practice. It's a discipline. We're so used to contracting, we're not so used to inducing expansion. So you can get better at it. You can bring yourself into this state. You can get to the moon. That's it. I feel better. I hope you do. I will repost this session on my Facebook page. It'll be up for 24 hours. I also repost it on the Scanning Facebook page, SQANNING. If you go there, follow and like, you will get alerts when there's new sessions, which I try to come every day, but sometimes it's every other day. I'll also post it on the Scanning YouTube page. And I end every session, of course, with rule number one. Rule number one. First rule of the day, every day. Love yourself. Love yourself. That's rule number one. There's an infinite amount of love available in the universe, so it's free. So take as much as you need and give yourself as much as you possibly can every day. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. At some point, you will have so much that you will feel content and happy, and it'll just be spilling out. You'll have so much extra that you don't know what to do with it. Take that extra, pass it around, give it to the people around you, the people at work, the people you love. We could all use it. It's good stuff. And that's it. So have yourself a great day, and continue to breathe, relax, love yourself, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.